There's this natural tendency for all of us guitarists to play pentatonic-based riffs and licks whenever we pick up a guitar. But wouldn't it be nice to spice it up a little bit and play something outside of the box? I'm going to show you how you can expand on the pentatonic boxes that you may have been stuck inside of, and exactly how to use the pentatonics just like the pros do in a matter of minutes. It all starts with these easy to remember soloing zones, and the notes are right next door to your trusty pentatonic scales. Now stick with me here because I do have a free gift for you and your guitar playing. I'll tell you exactly how to get a hold of that in just a few minutes. So you probably know your E minor pentatonic scale. That's going to be played up on your 12th fret of the low E string. So a lot of really passionate, intense moments in guitar playing history has been happening right inside of that scale and even in that key as well. So oftentimes we learn that scale, but a lot of times we don't get out of it. Now check out this first soloing zone. What we're gonna do is, let's just take a look at the top three strings. We've got 12, 14, 12, 15, 12, 15. And of course, I'm referring to the frets there on the top three strings. Now, this first easy to remember soloing zone is going to look like this. 12, 14, 15, 12, 14, 15, 12, 14, 15. So right up there, that's a great little sequence to just get up and go down. So that's a great little sequence to just get comfortable with. We can pick using alternate picking and going up and down, of course. You can work on your hammer-ons and your pull-offs. So those are a few different options on just getting comfortable with those notes. But let's just zoom in and see what these notes actually are. And I'm sure you can see, though, that that's a pretty easy to remember soloing zone. So let's talk about it. So this first one, a lot of you guys probably know this one already. That's the blues note. That's the flat 5, which you'll find inside of a blues scale. This guy right here, this is the addition to the minor pentatonic. In this case, that's going to be your 6th degree or the 13th. And you'll see this in both Dorian and in major pentatonic. So in E major pentatonic and also E Dorian, you'll find that C sharp note right there. And the next note here is the F sharp note, that 14th fret of the high E string. That's the 9th degree or the 2nd degree of the scale, but we've got that F sharp note, okay? And that guy really helped me unlock a lot of the Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix tones. So I'll never forget when I first discovered that for myself. So let's just go ahead and put on a jam track to hear how some of those notes sound in a soloing context. And just a quick little precursor, the jam track is based in E minor, and we're just hitting a G chord and an A chord. That kind of thing. So here we go. Of course, what I'm doing there is I'm playing licks, but I'm sure that you could see for yourself that when I'm playing, I'm really emphasizing that soloing zone. And so all those notes, we're using a combination of bends, hammer-ons, pull-offs, and you can even use tapping or slides or sweeps or whatever. But the key there is to learn solos and licks from your favorite guitar players, mess around with the combinations yourself, and also you can rely on this little soloing zone to help you find some really killer notes for your next solo and improv jam. All right, let's talk about this next easy to remember soloing zone. So right below the 12th fret, you'll hear this sound a lot, especially in funk, but a lot of like blues and stuff uses this too. So you might hear something like this. So let's take a look at that 11th fret. So a lot of times, yes, we are sliding that in as kind of more of an effect, but actually all those notes at the 11th fret on the D, G, B, and E strings are all really musical notes. So let's just have a look at each one of those notes. So right here, we'll find that same note that we talked about earlier, and which we found right here on the 14th fret of the B string, which, as mentioned, was that C sharp note, the 6th degree or the 13th, depending on which way you look at it. And there's that same note, okay? There's that C sharp note. And so we've already talked about that. We've already seen that in the musical context. Let's talk about this note. Now, we've seen that one as well. There it is. An F sharp note, the 9, okay? So we've talked about that one already. And check it out. We've talked about this one too. We found that guy, this B flat or A sharp note. We found it there, so that will help us access all those same 3 notes. In a couple of cases, an octave lower. This one is actually the same octave, whereas these guys are an octave apart, right? But that's super cool. So we've got just a different area to access those same tones. And this guy right here is a little bit more jazzy, or maybe a little bit more of a way to add more tension to the soloing moment. So this is your major 7th, okay? And keep in mind that we can always bend up, okay, to that E note there, or slide or anything like that. So let's take a look at this next easy to remember soloing zone against the jam track. Let me know, are you liking this video so far? If you are, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment as well. This will definitely help you get hooked into Guitar Mastery Method and all the free lessons that are coming out. One thing I did want to point out was on the chord changes, it's really cool to really accent some of these notes. So like, on that chord, we're really like laying in on the A. And when you go down to that 13th degree, that C sharp note, and of course we've talked about it in 2 different places that are right next door to the pentatonic scale. So that ends up being the major 3rd of the A. Okay? That's a really musical note against that A chord. So that's just something I wanted to point out, is when you're jamming on a rock and blues type of thing, either a 1 to 4 type of thing like we'll see here, or in the blues when the 4 chord comes up, that can be a really hot note to hit because it ends up being that major 3rd of the 4 chord. So again, if we're like, right? So anyways, you could probably hear me leaning into that while I was jamming on both examples. So I just wanted to point that out as we're chatting about it. Okay, let's take a look at this soloing zone number 3. We're gonna start from the 9th degree that we talked about already, which sounds really sweet. We're gonna move up chromatically with 5 by 5 notes, which just means we're gonna move up 1 fret at a time. So what that looks like is right here. There's our first note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm not saying that this would be a lick per se, but these are some really musical notes that are, again, right next door to that pentatonic scale that we know and love. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's talk about these notes. We've talked about the 9, okay? We found that in soloing zone number 2. And there's their starting position for soloing zone number 3 here. So we've got that 9. Here's the minor 3rd, or the flat 3, which we see inside that minor pentatonic scale. So nothing new there. The next note, the 13th fret. I couldn't do this lesson without chatting about this one. This is the major 3rd, which of course you'll find inside of a Mixolydian scale. Any type of major scale is going to really lean heavily on this note, but also your major pentatonic. All right. And also, when you're really like adding vibrato and tweaking that note on the flat 3, a lot of times you're really kind of like creeping in on that major 3rd sound and tonality. So There's that note, okay? The next one is right out of your minor pentatonic scale as well, that 14th fret of the G, and then we've already talked about this guy. But it's really cool when you see this chromatic line, and let's just see what each one of those sounds like. Now, what I would suggest is you can actually drone out your low E string and get comfortable with how each one of these sounds. We talked a little bit about that with the A string against that 13th and hearing that major third tonality, but you can do that with any droning string, even if you're fretting it, but it's nice here in this key. So what you can do is hit your low E string and then just listen to how each one of these sounds. And just get comfortable with, okay, that harmony is what we call a ninth. There's a minor third, a major third, fourth, flat five, right? And just, you can actually create kind of your own meaning behind each one of these and just get comfortable with them and create your own relationship to them. And we should probably talk about how this one is also up here. We can access the 9 here. As mentioned, we talked about that in the first soloing zone, but of course, we can just find each one of these notes right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? So this is kind of like a two-parter. So soloing zone part B would start up here on the 14th fret and just go chromatically up. So I'll play some licks over the backing track now, but kind of hop into each one of these tonalities and let's hear how that sounds. All right, so how fun is that, right? We've got these 3 easy to remember soloing zones that are right next door to your pentatonic scales. I hope that I've laid them out in a way that you can really just see them, remember them quickly. And just to recap, we've got the first soloing zone, which looked like this. Really easy to remember pattern. Second one was that kind of funk guitar type of idea. Okay, so all those notes are nice musical sounds. And then the third zone was this chromatic line starting from the 11th fret of the G. And then part B, of course, was just an octave higher on the high E string starting on the 14th fret. And yeah, just get comfortable with each one of those sounds, kind of create your own relationship to them, drone out that E note. And you can even do that with the A string, because we also discovered that, like that note, the 13th sounded really good. And of course, a great way to put this to work is on jam tracks. So I'm sure that you can see that pentatonics are a guitar player's best friend, and here's some awesome expansions for you. And also, as mentioned at the beginning of this lesson, I have a free gift for you and your guitar playing. And what that is this bad boy right here, how to instantly solo in any key. This is a free download. Just for watching this video and hanging out with me here, I wanted to get you access to this. This will just take a few minutes to go through. There's a video to go along with it as well. Go ahead and click up here to get access to that. And also, we'll have the link for you in the description below. Make sure to check this out. Don't leave without it. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next lesson. My name is Will Ripley with Guitar Mastery Method. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.